Mike, Coach Day was saying that he thinks Justin is light years ahead of where he expected at this point. Can you elaborate on that, just how far along he is compared to where you thought he would be at this point?
Well, I don't go into it with any preconceived notions. Take it for what it is and try to get better every day. I know it's coach speak, and what we're trying to do is just find ways to improve every day. And off every practice, off every game film that we review, find ways to get better. And how can we help him become the best quarterback that he can be? We're not there yet. And the best part is he knows that there's a lot of room to improve. So it's fun working with him. It's fun working with Coach Day. And we just need to keep on the path that we're on and just be consistent in our approach on a day-to-day basis.
Is there anything specific that you want him to get better at? I'm sure it's everything, but is there any, one thing that's at the top of the list?
Well, I think the two things that we always preach is just eyes and feet. Make sure your eyes are right. Your eyes are where they need to be. You're focused on whatever movement key it is, at whatever specific route we're running or whatever specific coverage it is we're going against. Make sure your eyes are where they need to be, and then make sure your feet are where they need to be. Be rhythm, be on balance, and throw the ball with good timing. Very important.
Far left, Lori.
Coach, Justin said that he thought he had an issue with his footwork a little bit on Saturday, this past Saturday, but that it wasn't an issue. He felt he had a lot of trouble with the first few games. As his position coach, when you hear something like that or see something like that, is it more of a concern because it hasn't been a problem consistently, or less of a problem because it hasn't been cropping up consistently?
I think it's so early still that when you say the word consistently, I don't know how much sample size we have for that to even come up. We need to continue to improve upon those things that I just mentioned with our eyes and with our feet and be more consistent, whether it be in our drill work and then carry it over to drills like 7-on-7 and see it in team, see it in practice, and then see it in the games. But you can go across the whole spectrum of quarterbacks, whether NFL or college, and you can nitpick footwork and try to get better at those components of the fundamentals that we teach every day, and there's always room to improve. There's always something throughout a game where the footwork could have been a little bit more efficient, and those are the things that we try to critique and get better at every game, every practice.
I think going into this season, the assessment from outside the program was there were concerns about depth at quarterback here, and yet you've gotten some good backup play, and from what I'm hearing, you've gotten good performances from your scout team quarterbacks. Could you discuss what they've been bringing to you guys?
Well, they are very dependable, and I'm not down there when the scout team's going against our defense. But the young coaches on defense do give us feedback of how they're performing so that we can help them and encourage those guys to give great effort, and they have been giving tremendous effort. And J.P. Andrade, for example, played a lot of scout team wide receiver last week and gave tremendous effort. That's the type of attitude that permeates throughout this whole entire team.
Front row, and that was Lori from 610 WTVN. Front row right, Austin from Lettermen Row.
Mike, what to this point has given Chris the edge to be the first guy off the bench?
Well, I think, his approach, I think a little bit more familiar with the system, and we're still, working through the evaluation process and evaluating those guys on a day-to-day basis. So each practice brings an opportunity for us to take a closer look and to give those guys more reps and to see, who will be as we continue to move throughout the season.
How different is it to manage that or evaluate once you get into the season? You want Justin to get ready on Saturday, and it's not training camp. The reps, I would think, are smaller for those two to compete. Mm-hmm. How do you manage that once you get into the year?
You have to be really smart, and you have to try to organize it in a fashion of what plays suits them the best, what they feel most comfortable with, and what areas they need to grow, and what specifically we need to do to help prepare them the best to win us a football game.
Front row right, Joey from the Columbus Dispatch.
Like, is there a point in the season where you need to settle on a backup quarterback, or is that something a bridge you don't have to cross until your QB1 were to be missing for an extended period of time? I guess, how do you kind of...
I think the repetitions are so precious that it's very important to to come to that conclusion. At the same time, it's in our best interest to keep two guys competing against one another and trying to bring out the best and making sure that we're sharpening our skills as much as we possibly can and then getting the guy ready as well. So it's a balance between the two.
Front row right, Tim from Lettermen Row.
Yeah, Mike, as you watch your receivers and stuff, what are you seeing develop from that group? Are you seeing them playing better as weeks go on with Justin, when Justin breaks the pocket, et cetera? What are you seeing from that? And then specifically, Chris Olave seems to be taking it up a notch. What's your view of him?
Well, he's a very explosive receiver, and he's very consistent. And he practices really hard, and his want to is extremely high. He wants to get better every day, and he wants to find ways to improve. And I think that group has a very unique style in the fact that we have a lot of experience and we have some youth. And I think the mentorship is very strong in that group. And the younger guys understand that there is a lot of room to grow, and there is a lot of room to learn and to continue to develop their skills. And so they look up to the experienced guys in that room, and they're learning from those guys, and the older guys are mentoring them. So I think it's a good balance with youth and experience, and I think that's making for a really, really strong unit.
Yeah. And one of the things, I think you got a wife and young daughter, right? I mean,
Yes.
when you go home on a Saturday night and you get a chance, do you watch a lot of football? Or do you, do you try to pollinate the flower, a little bit, your own brain, et cetera, as you're watching? I mean, that didn't come out right, but you know what I'm saying.
I was wondering where you're going.
Yeah. Are you trying to learn every week when you get a chance to watch other college teams play?
The TV's always on, and it's football, and I'm having the new remote. When you move, you're not used to the remote. So we got a last channel on the remote, and the last channel doesn't mean back, so it's got me all jacked up, so I keep on yelling at the TV. But I'm trying to watch as many games as there are on and spending time with the family, and it's all fun. And now that we're back home, we usually have a big crew at the house, and we're hosting somebody, so it's a bunch of fun, and happy to be back and have a lot of family around after the games. It's awesome.
Fourth row middle, Patrick from 247 Sports.
Yeah, Mike, how have you seen Justin grow as a leader since he's been here 8 months now, played in 3 games? Just how has that grown? I know that was an important thing you guys talked about before the quarterback battle. It looks like he's taken some strides that way.
I think every leader on a team needs some street credit. I think you have to produce to a certain amount of degree, and he's produced, and I think he feels more comfortable commanding the troops and taking control, and I think that confidence has always been there, but now it's outward. It's more outward. It's not just an inner confidence. I think people can see that, and he's got a I don't know if you call it a swag or just a presence about him that I think players take to, his teammates take to, and there's just I don't know if comfort is the best word, but there is that reliance in your teammate and the confidence that they have in him and that he has in them as well. And it's a two-way street. And I think his confidence is building in his teammates, and his teammates are building confidence in him, and it goes back and forth, and that creates a very strong unit and team. And I think that's can continue to build. I don't think that the leadership amongst with the quarterbacks is where it needs to be. It needs to continue to grow, and that starts with our room. And this is a long journey that we're on, and we need to continue to work every day at it.
Second row right, Tony.
Mike, the running game's going really well, which has seemingly made the under center play action stuff really effective right now. How would you assess that whole deal right now with that?
It starts up front with our guys up front. They're doing a great job coming off the ball and establishing the line of scrimmage. And our tailbacks are doing a great job coming downhill as well. I think any time that you can line up under center and allow your tailback to get a full head of steam and hit his gaps and be able to have a little bit different viewpoint, getting the ball deeper and getting them downhill, it can help your run game at times, depending on your schemes. And I think Coach Studd, all the coaches have done a great job in that room, Coach Wilson included, Coach Alford, getting the right schemes married up with what we're choosing to run, and that's a big component of it as well. You don't want to spread yourself too thin. You have to have your majors and really try to focus on those particular schemes and not be too broad, because then you get, you're jack of all trades, master of none. And so those guys need a lot of credit, and the guys up front are doing an extremely great job of coming off the ball and mauling people. We need to continue to do that. And it starts in practice. Our guys practice really tough. They practice with great effort, and, it's fun to see that growth.
We got time for 2 more questions. Front row left, Mitch.
Hey, Mike, I understand, the focus on getting better every week, but when you have this type of schedule where you have the first 3 games like you did, and then you have another one like this before you get into the meat of the Big Ten, how difficult is that to keep the players on task and keep the focus on, getting better?
I think Coach Day does a tremendous job of getting the players' attention in his meetings, and he has a way of addressing the team that keeps it very energetic and purposeful. But I think the biggest thing with this team is that when we practice against our defense, you can't hide. We compete at a very high level on Tuesday, on Wednesday, on Thursday, and we go good on good, and that helps. Regardless of the opponent, we're getting better. We're forcing, with that competition, we're forcing each side of the ball to get better, pinning each other against each other to create that competition. And I think that's really important, and that's what goes on here. So regardless of the opponent on Saturday, it's the process of Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, good on good, great reps, full speed, toughness, effort, and you see good results.
And final question, second row left, Bill.
Mike, for the average college quarterback, I guess, how difficult is the throw from the far hash to outside the numbers? Because Justin makes it look really easy sometimes, and how much does his ability to do that open up things for your offense, passing game?
I think it's a very interesting point that you bring up. I think it can be very difficult if you're not loaded up, if you don't have a good transfer of weight, if you don't have good timing, if you don't have a good rapport with your receivers, if you don't have good protection. There's a lot of things that come into it. How are you protecting those field throws? What particular coverages are you going against? Many, many, many factors fall into that. But the most important factor is the ability to have the arm strength to get it there. And he has that, obviously. At the same time, we have to be correct in our footwork, in our transfer of weight, and how balanced we are, and all of that plays into that. And most importantly is protection. And I know I praised the offensive line earlier on their run blocking, but the pass blocking is just as good thus far. And those are the main keys in making field throws.
Are you able to have a more diverse passing game because of that? You can attack basically the entire field.
I think so, yeah, for sure, right? You're not limited in certain ranges and certain types of throws, so you can attack all the areas of the field that you need to. Yes, sir.
Coach, I got one more. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
Left up.
All the things you guys do in the passing game, where does explosiveness fit into what you want to do in terms of taking care of the ball, moving the chains? How does the risk reward of making big plays fit into your plan?
It's a great question. Again, you don't want to be 2nd and 10. So there's got to be that understanding that big plays will occur, and what situations, depending on who you're going against, what coverages they run, those situations kind of, I don't want to say fall into your lap, but certain situations there's a higher percentage for more explosive play than others. Some of it may be on 3rd down, depending on how much man they're covering or playing. And some of them may be on 1st and 2nd down, depending on what types of schemes that you have from a play action standpoint. But the biggest thing is you want to stay on schedule, so there's that balance. And, that's why you see certain teams try to stay on schedule on 1st and 10 and not taking shots down the field because they don't want to play behind the sticks. So that is the conversations that we constantly have on a day-to-day basis as far as which schemes we plan on going with in a game and what are our 1st down calls, what are our 2nd down calls. And Coach Day does a tremendous job of making sure that, building progressions within our structure so that the deep ball is not there, You simply take your checkdowns and you're still being efficient with your throws and managing the game and staying on the schedule. Those are the keys. The hard ones are when you're calling a two-man route, and you're taking a shot down the field. And I think the biggest thing is when you're calling those plays, you have to have faith that your guys are going to get open. You have to like your matchup. So who are you going against? What's the matchup? All of those things come into factor when trying to manufacture explosive plays down the field.
And last thing on Justin, he's played so well. You guys have played so well offensively. When we talk to Justin, he's pretty straightforward. He's not giving us a lot of juicy quotes about how good he is so far. Why is he like that?
Oh, you'd have to ask him and his dad and the folks that raised him. I mean, I can't go into the psyche of him and why he's not juicy, as you say. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I think right now he's probably just trying to make sure that he's saying the right things in the media and doing the right things and gaining the respect of the fan base and his teammates. And he knows he hasn't arrived yet. It's early, and there's a lot of work to be done. And I think the personality will naturally come. And I don't think you can force something like that. And I think he's doing the right things of just being himself. And that's all he needs to do.
Coach, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks for calling in.